What's up, Courtney? How you doing?
Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me pretty good?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay, cool. How's everything been?
Good. Can't complain. Cannot complain at all. All has been well. Just it is construction season now that we are in phase 2. So all of my clients that were on hold, they all want to start construction like yesterday.
Yeah.
So going through that phase, getting permits ready for City of New Orleans for contractors to pick up, and it's also grant writing season. A lot of grants are due by the end of the month, so I have a lot of clients that like, I want a grant, I need a grant. Can you get it in? So trying to
I need money.
yeah, everybody needs money. So trying to work through that dynamic and ensure that I'm not overexerting myself. So, but it's been good. I can't complain.
I got you. That's good news. Good news.
I cannot complain. How about you? How are y'all still doing the sessions?
With what you mean?
The environmental sessions, the training that
Yeah. We actually there's some scheduled for next week, but they want me to do specifically construction and janitorial and cleaning. So they're trying to line up. We're trying to line up different contractors and service providers so we can talk. Get them on board with those specific industries. So it's
Can't hear
been
you,
going.
Andy.
Hey everybody, how are you guys doing?
Good.
Hey, what's happening?
Hey, we're gonna get started in just a few. I see you guys have already been chatting, bringing us up to speed on what's going on in our world today. So I'm excited to see all of you. It's good to see everybody alive and well. So in this day and time, it's no longer cliche. It is definitely some true words. We used to take it for granted, like, hey, oh, I'm doing well, I'm alive and well. Now it really means I'm alive and well. So it is good to see each and every one of you here. And so we're gonna go ahead and get started. Everybody that knows me knows I get excited about interviewing my friends, my coworkers, those that are in industries with me and without me. There are so many different areas that are but it's so funny how we're all coming together, and so one can feed off another and one can support another because we all need each other. So we're going to go ahead and get started. This is called Ask the Experts. I am Candy Martin. I will be your facilitator for today. And let me explain to those, this may be your first time coming on, so let me explain to you how it works. We have 4 panelists today, and so this is going to be a panel discussion. I have some questions that I have already taken from my audience and then off of social media, or maybe from some emails that I received. And so as we advertise and we know who's coming up the next week, people begin to send in their questions. And so we only have an hour or so, so of course we won't be able to answer everybody's question. I would love to do that, but anybody who's ever been to a meeting know all it takes is that one question and the meeting can just go and go and go. So what I'm gonna do, I have already pulled some of the questions, and I will ask the panelists as needed to answer for us. And trust me, if we do not answer your question today live, don't worry, don't fret. I will make sure that your question get answered either directly from me, or I will transfer it over to whichever panelist needs to have the question. So put your questions in the chat, and I'm going to put my phone on mute. And so put your questions in the chat, and if we get a chance, if we have time, we will answer some of those directly, but our panelists will be throughout this session, they will be checking the chat to see if you have a question specifically for them, and they will do their best to answer you either now or they'll take your information and answer you later. So I have everyone's contact information, so I'll make sure that everyone is gelled together. This is currently being streamed live on YouTube. So if you know somebody that's not on social media, you can shoot them a text and say, hey, go on YouTube and search for the AK Legacy Foundation and you'll see us live streaming there. And so I ask that you share this information and you get it out, because the whole purpose of Ask the Expert is to bring information to our community who may not otherwise get a chance to speak to our panel guests, who may not be aware of certain things. And this is also a way to keep the community informed. And as you all know, we're dealing with several issues in our country right now at the time. So now it's so much information overload. You can't really cipher through what's true, what's not, what's good, what's bad. And so it is our mission to make sure that we get you guys the best possible information from the top-notch experts. And trust me, these people, they may not be a household name to you, but trust me, you're gonna wanna make them a household name because they have information and resources that can improve your quality of life. So we're excited to have them here. I am thankful that they are here. And the way it's gonna work, I'm gonna ask each panelist a random question. They have no idea what I'm gonna ask them. And as I say every week, this is the fun part because I get to pick on my friends and they don't even know what I'm gonna ask them. So I get to put them on the spot. So this is the best part of the whole show. And so after they answer the first round of questions, we will ask the second round. The second round will be more so geared toward our time, the social issues that we're dealing with. And then I will read their bio and give each panelist an opportunity to kind of expound a little bit more in their industry. So by the time we get to the third round, everybody will be relaxed, the ice will be broken, and we've had some questions answered. So I'm ready to get started. I'm not going to give them a formal introduction on the first and second round. We're going to save that for their bio, and for the third round, when we're going to give them a little bit more time to be to kind of share some information with us. So just bear with me as I navigate through that. And remember, I am the facilitator, I am the host, I am the janitor, I'm the record keeper. So just have a little patience with me if I have to kind of move in and move out. That's where we're starting. And I never despise small beginnings because I see the end result of this and I know what God showed me. So for now, I'll have to juggle until I get my staff on board. So for now, I appreciate you guys tuning in. It means a lot that you all are even considered to take time out of the mid part of your day. And that's not just for the panelists, that's for the guests as well, because it means a lot to me that it means a lot to you to be more concerned about your life, your finances, your health, your social well-being. So all of that is going to be discussed on today. So let's dive right on in. And so I am going to start with the first random round of questions for our panelists. And I'm going to make sure, panelists, that each one of you have host control, which means you're able to unmute yourself. Let's see. All right. And Katina, I think because you're on your phone, I'll unmute you all the way and then you can mute yourself back. So I'll ask you the first question since you've already unmuted yourself. So you'll get to go first.
No problem.
All right, so first question, someone wrote in, I guess they had watched one of my shows and they saw that I said a 620 was not a good credit score anymore. So their question is, why isn't a 620 a decent credit score?
Well, because basically the key to credit is interest rates. People can get things with a 620 credit score, but that doesn't mean you have good credit. The key to credit is making money off of having credit and the lowest interest rate. If you can, like for instance, I have a client got a car at 620 and the interest rate though is like 25%. So by the time she's done paying for that car, while she's paying for it, she's paying for like 2 cars. So the key to credit is to be educated on the interest rate. So that's why when I talk to someone and I say, do you have a 720 or higher on all 3? Oh no, but I got good credit. Oh really? Do you have a 720 or higher? No. Okay, then with all due respect, you don't have good credit. Let me ask you a question. What is your interest rate on your car? Do you have a car loan? They'll say, yeah. What's your interest rate? Oh, I don't know. Well, see, people with good credit know their interest rate. Also, if I ask them a question and they do know, it's always high. So this is why 620 is not a good, you can get things with a 620, but it's not the best score.
All right, thank you, Katina. Now, we have a ton of questions for you, so hang on, don't move. The next question is going to be for Ms. Courtney Elzie.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey, good morning. All right, so this is a funny question, but it's a very serious question because it's funny to us because we know better now, but to be honest, this is what I actually thought too, so I'm not judging by any means. Does a nonprofit mean everything has to be free and you got to be broke?
No, a nonprofit is means that you are operating a business that doesn't operate for profit. You can still pay yourself. You can still hire people to pay, and you use funds that you get either through donations or grants or however you obtain your funding for your organization to pay those people. But you don't have to be broke. No, you can pay yourselves. If you recognize any of the larger nonprofit organizations such as Ochsner, that's one of the largest nonprofit organizations in the country. They got a full staff. And a person who operates it is the CEO, and he makes over $250,000 a year. So no, you do not have to be broke if you have a nonprofit.
Thank you. Okay, Joe, you're up.
What's happening?
Hey, how are you, sir?
I'm doing good. Glad to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Oh, yeah. I'm surprised you had time, in between all this cleaning up everything and sterilizing everything, you managed to squeeze us in.
I had to turn somebody off to get on here. So
Well, great. Hey, this is the best place to be. 11 o'clock on Wednesdays. You want to be here. So my first random question for you, Joe, is where are we now with the COVID-19 as far as in your industry, you do environmental health. So where are we now? Because you were here in May and we had spoken back in April. So now, where are we now with this COVID-19?
Well, I think we haven't seen the rebound or spike in new cases, let's say since Memorial Day when things start really opening back up. And I'm afraid that we might see a rebounding of cases due to all the social unrest and protesting and large gatherings, even though people did have masks on and different things like that. I want to be optimistic, but I also want to be realistic. The worst possible thing with this pandemic is large gatherings, a group of people. So, I mean, we've had several large gatherings throughout the country over the last 10 days due to the protests, and for very good reason. I'm just afraid that those large gatherings will lead to a spike in cases, especially amongst our community. I'm hoping it doesn't, but the reality of how this COVID-19 virus is transmitted, it's not a very favorable situation to be in these large groups. Another thing that I'm seeing a lot of is people are wearing face coverings and different mitigation techniques, but they're not using them correctly. I mean, we all see people with a mask over their face, but not over their nose. That's not doing you any good. So these type of things is what I'm seeing. It still needs to be a lot more training and education for facilities as far as cleaning and disinfection. So it's getting better. Our numbers are going down, but I'm just afraid there's going to be a rebound. There's going to be a spike in that curve at some point because everybody's really dropping their guard right now because things are opening up. So we shall see. We have to kind of wait and see if there's going to be a true second wave to this pandemic in the United States.
Right, right. Well, don't go anywhere, Joe. You know, you're kind of a hot topic right now.
Yeah.
Anything associated with cleaning and COVID, you know, you kind of tie in together. So stick
Mhm.
around with us. We have some questions for you. Now, my next random question is for two of my favorite people, because I see she has a co-host. My co-host has a co-host. It's for Miss Ashante Sibley. She's gonna answer this random question, and it says, let's see, where did it go? Okay, the mask. Just piggyback off of what Joe just said. So, is it now cool to wear a mask because we can make them fashionable or not? And unmute. You have to unmute yourself. Let's see. Let me help out. Let me help out, y'all. Okay, there you go.
Okay, ask the question again.
That's fine. You get a free pass. You know, anybody holding my grandbaby get a free pass. So you get a free pass. So the question is, among your generation now, is it cool to wear masks because they've been coming out with fashionable ones?
Oh, yes, I think so, because designers are starting to make them like with the same prints or patterns as our outfits that we might be wearing, or they're the same skin tone as us. You can get like your favorite football team on them. So I think with my generation, it is still about the way you look. So if it looks cool with your outfit, then we are more willing to wear them. And like designers are starting to do the gloves that are matching the mask too. So I just think as long as the designers continue to incorporate like masks and gloves in their designs, then it'll be more easier for my generation, the generation under me, to incorporate wearing masks in our daily routines.
All right, cool. So, Joel, I know that wasn't the favorite thing that you wanted to hear, because I know you are all about safety. So we'll come back to you, Joel. And so I know Ashante is going to be coming up with some N95 fashionable masks somewhere in the future. If you're a mask designer, I think Joel could appreciate you guys putting safety in there as well. So let's jump right into our next round of questions. Y'all give me 1 second. I want to do a couple of housekeeping things to make sure that the view on YouTube is correct, and so that everyone can hear everything loud and clear, because it is my goal and my mission above everything else is that you get the right information. All right. So there we go. All right. So our next question is for, let's see who's up next. Courtney. All right, so the next round of question, panelists, is going to be in regard to our social issue. We will talk a little bit about COVID-19, but for right now, we want to shift over to how racism is even affecting our businesses and our nonprofits. So sometimes when we hear the word racism, we don't tie that to business, but you guys stick around and we're going to show you how that spills over into your personal life as well as your business life. So just hang on a second. So Courtney, this question is for you. Where did it go? Okay, so social injustice, are they tied to how we receive government funding? For example, because of a race or ethnic or religious group, do you see it often in government funding that we even can suffer racism in that regard?
It's in every industry, unfortunately. However, the government does have programs that businesses can register for, where there's funding set aside for specific classifications and ethnicities, such as minority-owned businesses, women-owned businesses. You have Indian and Native American-owned businesses designations that you can receive if you're part of that classification, where there's money, where the government is mandated to put money aside specifically for those small businesses, those type of businesses to access. So, but it does happen. Unfortunately, there's no real way to really shield that, but there are programs out there to assist with that. But you have to make sure that you're signed up and your business is designated as such.
Right. And you all, I want you guys to make sure that you get these, our panelists, get their contact information, go to their website. They have products and services that can only improve everything that you're doing in your business or in your personal matter. So if you are a business owner and you're thinking about starting a nonprofit, or if you're a stay-at-home mom and you want to start a nonprofit, whatever the case may be, Courtney is someone's information that you would want to have in your Rolodex or in your contact list so that you can get the right information the first time. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. Having the right information at the right time is so key. So our next question is for Katina. All right. In regards to so the next, like I said, these rounds of questions are all geared toward what we're facing in our country right now in regards to racism. Do you think having excellent credit, even with having excellent credit, are we still receiving racial decisions? In other words, I can have an 850 and my Caucasian counterpart could have an 850, but because of my race, I can still get denied for certain things. Do you see that happening even in the credit industry?
Okay, so that's a great question. Well, actually, even before now, I'm not gonna say racial, but if you had a back in the day, before a lot of things are changing now, but and that actually is actually still like this. If I have an 850 credit score, and let's say Courtney has an 850 credit score, but Courtney is in a zip code where it's a suburb, I'm in quote unquote like the hood, she's gonna apply for more things because of her zip code. Our credit, our social security numbers they identify us as far as what category we're in as far as race. That is true. That's from the beginning. However, when it comes to credit, though, they truly go by your credit score. It goes by where you live. You apply for more things if you have a zip code that's upper higher end suburb versus in the hood. Now in the hood, you can get a car, because I know this because I've been on both sides of the coin. That's why I know. And I tested it. It's tested, try and prove. So when I had a 400 something credit score and I had to move back out of the well, my husband and I had to move back out of the suburbs back down to the hood, and the one house we did lose.
Katina.
Okay. Yes.
Katina, let me interrupt you. Katina, you're breaking up, so I want you to come back and answer that question for us. That is very, very important, because I heard you say zip code, and I'm like, And if we all think about it, you know your zip code and you know the quality of life where you are. So we're gonna come back to that. Don't go anywhere, but your signal was kind of breaking up, and I want to make sure that you have the best possible presentation. And hey, this is live, and we don't care about protocol. We're trying to get the information. So I'm gonna come back to you, okay?
Yes,
all
ma'am.
right. Thank you. All right, Miss Sibley, question is for you. I'm gonna try my best not to call her by her nickname, y'all. Y'all work with me. work with me. All right, do my best. All right, let's see. Okay, there you go. All right, Ms. Ashante, the question for you is, because of so this is going to be geared toward the social injustices and things like that. What about the clothing that you all wear? And I say you all, I mean your age group. If you don't mind, I can tell everybody your age group. You're 24. So
I'm 23.
Oh, you're 20. You had to correct me on the live air, girl. I know when you were born. Right, so 23, 2 months away from being 24. And so you're 23. And so when I say you all, it's not a downplay, it's just the reality. I'm not 23. So in your age group, the clothing that I see you all wearing, I Can't Breathe, just all those things, Black Lives Matter. You had a shirt a few years ago, way before all this. And when you wore it, I just started praying. I was like, oh Lord, your shirt said, it's illegal to be Black. And that, I think you were about 18 when you came out with that shirt in your clothing line. And I didn't tell you not to wear it because I understood. And hey, I didn't have an argument for it. So do you find that you all wear the clothing because the slogans are catchy and the attention getters, or are you all making a statement with your fashion?
So when I first did the shirt, it was around the time of Trayvon Martin. I think it was him or somebody else.
It's always
And,
somebody. Yeah, we got you.
right. So what? So when I first wore the shirt, it was to make a statement, and then I would start. I would just start wearing it just because, like, screen printed tees usually go with everything, and sometimes I would wear it at my job. You know, just getting rushed to put some clothes on that morning, and I throw on that shirt with some jeans, and then I'm wondering, like, why is everybody stopping me or just looking crazy? Because at the time I was working with people that didn't look like me, a lot of people that didn't look like me, and it just started the conversation within us as coworkers. So I mean, I think at first it's to make a statement, and then it might just grow into a fashion statement. But overall, like, the goal is to create a conversation, because someone's gonna ask, like, where did you get that? Or, you know, why are you wearing a shirt like that?
Right. And so I'm thankful to God that I didn't, even though as a mother, we teach our children, okay, wear this, wear that, be proper, don't say this, wear your hair that way. And so now we're seeing that, hey, it's fact. Now we can be free to wear, and we can be free to wear what we want and to give it an expression, but not just to wear it, but actually have the meaning behind it. So we're going to come back to you, so don't go anywhere. We're gonna get some more questions from you as well. All right, so this is where I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about what we're doing and why we're doing what we're doing, and then we're gonna bring our panelists on and give each of them an opportunity to give us more information about their particular industry. So the AK Legacy Foundation, and I am proud to say that Ms. Courtney she is our registered agent for the foundation. So she's gonna, you'll be seeing more of her as we go throughout this process. So the AK Legacy Foundation, it is a nonprofit organization, registered 501c3. We developed this platform because it was something that we were already doing, and we wanted to take it to the next level, and we wanted to be able to do more for more people. The foundation, we teach financial literacy and business development. That is the core value of why we're doing what we're doing. Everything is going to be centered around financial literacy, developing your business. And so developing your business can mean getting personal counseling so that you can have a full working brain when you come to your office. It could look like you getting a mentor for your business, finding a branding coach. So business development could also mean, are you structured correctly? I have a class coming up next week called Are You Legit? Or do you just have business cards and you're doing a hobby? Are you a registered business? And so those are the type of things that we offer in our foundation, where we can do more, either at a discounted rate. Some things are sponsored. Some may require a scholarship, because we do have programs for children. We have programs for women that are in business. And then we have a program that's for any and everybody, whether you're a man, woman, boy, or girl, and it is not race gendered. So it's not race or gender based. So it doesn't matter whatever in the MED program, you fall into that category. Of course, the women in business, you have to be a woman. And then for the YES program, you have to be a youth between the ages of 7 and 17. So go to our website, check us out. We always appreciate donations, because everything that we receive, we are able to give it out. And Courtney is going to tell us a little bit more a little later about how nonprofits work and why we need one for our business. So because sometimes as business owners, we find ourselves donating things because of our heart to serve others. And so Courtney's going to kind of help us a little bit about that, about how to separate the two. And so that's why we developed the AK Legacy Foundation. So go on our website, check us out, drop us a line. We always have things upcoming, and I'm going to give you some more details more about it a little later. All right, so we're gonna start with Joel. Since I told him earlier he's the hot topic, he gets to go first. Joe Houghton is the owner of J.B. Houghton and Associates LLC, Restoration and Environmental. Joe and his company is a full-service restoration company that does site safety management, and they're located in New Orleans, Louisiana. The company specializes in certified site safety management, water mitigation, microbial remediation, cleaning and disinfection, decontamination, and lead-based paint and interim control. Mr. Houghton has environmental certification from state, federal, and internationally recognized agencies such as OSHA and several others. Over the last 5 years, Mr. Houghton has worked as an instructor for the DSCEJ Environmental Career Worker Training Program. So Mr. Joe knows a little bit about cleaning up. So Joe, I do have some more questions for you. I guess I'll start with the first question and then you can expound from there. I'll ask you one question and then you just take a minute or two to kind of give us some more information. So the question for you is, am I really cleaning my home with the products I buy at the store? I won't call, at your local, dollar store, your local supercenter.
Okay. The biggest thing that I'm seeing, yes, the answer to that is yes. But the biggest technique that I want to get across to a lot of people, that cleaning and disinfection, or cleaning and sanitizing, is a two-step process. So in order to properly disinfect a surface, it has to be cleaned first. And then that disinfectant that you use has to have contact time with that surface based on the manufacturer's recommendation. But one of the biggest things I want to get across to our community is I have moved from chemical-based disinfectants to all natural disinfectants, which only contain water, salt, and vinegar. And this disinfectant is way more effective than stuff that you can buy at the store, and it's priced at a point to where it's more affordable. And the reason why I feel like our community needs to move more to toxic-free disinfectants is because we have a susceptibility to things like asthma, cancer, these different things. So when you think about using a chemical product on a daily basis, multiple times a day, you have to think about what chemicals you're exposing yourself, your family, and that work environment to, that are contained in that cleaning product. So a lot of these cleaning products have very dangerous chemicals in them. And if we're using them 2 and 3 times a day, we're adding to what's called a toxic load of that building or that area. So those toxins that are residue and residual effects of that cleaning product can harm us in major ways.
All right, Joe. So one of the main concerns, we're in June and we all see how fast time is flying. We haven't asked ourselves if today Thursday or Friday. I mean, the times is just kind of all one day. So schools are getting ready to open up. Now, exactly what that's going to look like, we're not sure. So what are you anticipating as far as, because you got to think about it, when you have people that's using one space all day, multiple people, people have a tendency to get lackadaisy in cleaning. They get tired, they get lazy, they get busy because it's a constant. So as some of the churches get ready to open, some of the schools, some of the stores, how does that whole thing look as far as staying safe?
Well, this is the thing. I think there's got to be, when this thing first happened, the COVID-19 virus first start really coming into play in the United States, my first thoughts was it's going to take some good old-fashioned cleaning, but it's also going to take some innovation and some technology. So you're going to have to incorporate these things into your plan. So like, say, a school, for instance, which is an enclosed building envelope, there's going to have to be some kind of air purification system in there. So cleaning surfaces is great, but how are you decontaminating the air that everybody's breathing and being recycled through that building by your AC unit? And there's plenty of technology out there that can help in reducing pathogens, viruses, and bacteria through air and surfaces. And we're using a lot of that technology right now. I'm actually going to be on a call later on this afternoon with a tech company out of Dallas who is trying to link up with me so we can use drones to actually disinfect outside equipment. So, you know, you're going to have to be creative, but there's going to have to be a designated plan by people who understand indoor air quality and cleaning and disinfecting. So it's just, I don't know what they're going to do. I don't think a lot of these schools and businesses and churches, I've bid on jobs at different churches and stuff, and everybody's more concerned about the price rather than the effectiveness. So I don't have an answer. If you're just getting services based on price only, I don't know if that's going to be an adequate solution for what you're going to have going on.
So this is the one time where we're not looking for the bargain, and this is not the buy one, get two free sale. Basically, you're saying that this is going to be important.
Well, the key is to it. This is not like somebody catching the flu. This is not like, okay, we didn't clean good enough, or we didn't do this, and somebody got sick and they're out of work for a couple of days. They'll be back next week. This is the difference between life and death situations. So what value are you as an organization, a company, whatever, putting on the fact that one of your people that come into this building or this facility could actually die from acquiring this virus? So what price do you put on that? You know, so.
Right. And then I was having a conversation with someone yesterday, and I was making a joke, but then I realized how serious it is. I said our pastor should have been a general in an army or something, because he is taking this to the highest utmost. We have hand sanitation stations, I think at every door and window, if you ask me. And he is making sure we have nurses checking temperature. And I saw a lot of what our pastor our ministry as a whole put in place way better than some of these large companies that we have to interact with. And I'm like, you know, our pastor, he has a spirit of excellence, of course, and he's going to make sure that everything is excellent, but then he's also taking it a step further and making sure everything is safe. And so that you can have some type of peace, some sort of normalcy as best we can get it. So I do see the challenge there when you go to one place and there's hand sanitizer everywhere, but then you go somewhere else and you're looking for the one that's in your purse. So do you see this becoming eventually going to be a mandate that there's safety things put in place? I mean, we have Lysol everywhere, but I can go in other places and I don't see anything. So are we going to all be personally responsible for our own cleaning?
I think that's the biggest challenge. What is the standard? You know, like what is the standard? What should we all be doing? Especially, I think your pastor is a very, very smart man. I think he understands the severity of the problem, and I think he has a heart for his congregation, because he wants to keep everybody as safe as he knows how. And I commend him for that, because there's a lot of churches that are not taking that approach from what from people I've talked to, as far as providing service. There's got to be more of an importance, because this is the problem. If somebody does get sick or God forbid dies in that congregation, then who's responsible for that? And how do you reconcile that? Like, oh, well, you know, we had the budget lady come in and clean, and I guess she didn't do a good job, and sorry, Sister Johnson. You know, I mean, you have to take this seriously. I think we're getting very lax in our approach to this, and we need to step it up, because we know our communities are disproportionately affected by this disease. So we don't really care what everybody else that doesn't look like us is doing. We need to know what we need to be doing to be safe in these environments.
All right, and don't go anywhere, Joel. I have some more questions for you. Don't forget to check the chat to see if there's any correspondence.
Yeah, I'm about to jump in there now.
And please put your contact information in there as well. All right, let's see who is next on our list. All right, Miss Courtney, yes. All right, Miss Courtney. Courtney Llc is the principal owner of McD Llc, a boutique management consulting firm specializing in planning and management of cross-functional business operations for public and private entities of all sizes. She is a registered agent service company by the Louisiana Secretary of State with over 18 years of experience in government. In the government arena, Courtney has gained extensive knowledge of project and consultant management, disaster recovery, extensive knowledge of disaster recovery and contract administration. Her previous leadership roles include deputy chief. I see Felicia on here. I'm talking about food already, kind of sidetracked. Deputy Chief of Construction Management, branch of the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, New Orleans District, and Senior Program Manager of the Institute of Water Resources in Washington, D.C. Courtney holds a bachelor's degree in electrical engineering from the University of New Orleans, yay, my hometown, New Orleans, a postgraduate certificate of management from Tulane University, and a Master of Business Administration with a concentration in management from the University of Maryland. Lastly, Courtney is a graduate of Georgetown University Government Affairs Institute Congressional Operations Program. She holds many other professional and social memberships, including belonging to the National Grant Management Association. Courtney is married to Mr. Llc Sr., and they co-own the E Group LLC, a real estate brokerage firm. And of all of her business accomplishments, Courtney is most proud of being the mother of her son, Duran II and Madison. So welcome, Courtney. Yay.
Hey, welcome.
I gotta tell
I hate hearing my bio read. I'm just gonna be quite honest. I hate hearing my bio. It almost feels like,
yeah, I can hear you now.
yeah, it just makes me feel a little different. But thank you, Candy, for allowing me to be here today. I'm going to talk more, as Candy stated earlier. My business is management consulting and documentation services. The primary focus of my business is project management and construction and program management. I also do a lot of federal grant administration and management. But today I'm going to talk more about my documentation services portion of the business, where I serve as a registered agent for the state of Louisiana. And what that is I'm a compliance mandate for businesses of all registered businesses of all sizes for the state of Louisiana, if that business chooses to utilize my company for that. And a compliance mandate is ensuring that the business or the organization is compliant with all state, which is state and local government regulations as it relates to operating your business. Also, I do business formations and business incorporations. I work with Candy a lot on establishing nonprofits for organizations. And I know Candy wanted me to discuss why establishing a nonprofit would be good for you and or your business. Well, a lot of people don't understand what's a nonprofit. Well, a nonprofit organization is an organization that has a primary goal or mission to do something. So if Candy wants to help people establish businesses or teach them about financial planning, she would establish a foundation or a nonprofit organization to do so. The nonprofit also protects the founders or the members from tax obligations. So a nonprofit is exempt from state corporation tax, as well as if you register as a 501c3, but note their IRS has different types of nonprofits. But if you register for one of their types of nonprofit, you're exempt from federal corporate corporate tax. What you're not exempt from, and this is one thing that a lot of people get confused, if you have employees or if you pay yourself, you are not exempt from payroll tax. You still have to apply with the state and federal rules for income tax. That is different from corporate tax. You are not exempt from sales tax. That's one of the many questions when I work with clients who establish a nonprofit. They automatically assume they can take their 501c3 letter from the IRS to Sam's or Walmart and say, look, I'm not profit, so I don't have to pay sales tax. No, that's different. Each state has a rule and regulation on how you can become exempt from sales tax, and you have to apply for that. That's separate from establishing your nonprofit. That's separate from applying for the IRS 501c3 or 501c5 or 7 designation. That's different. But you are exempt as a established registered nonprofit, as a exempt from federal corporate tax, and you're exempt from state and local corporate tax. So what does that mean, being exempt? So say you have a regular for-profit business. So you work hard. After you pay all your business bills, you have money left in the bank. That money left in the bank is your profit. If you're for-profit, you can take that money as long as you have a plan written down on how you're going to utilize your profit. You can distribute the profit amongst the members of your organization, or you can take the money and do something, whatever you want to do. I want to buy a car for my business or whatever. You could take that profit and do something with it. However, if you are a regular business and you're taking your profit and using it, you're going to be taxed on it. You're going to be taxed on any money that you bring into your business. That's considered revenue, income. You're going to be taxed on it. With the nonprofit, you have an organization where, let's use AK Legacy Foundation. They're helping people get business savvy. So they're an organization that helps with business formation and understanding the politics behind establishing a business and financial management. So AK Legacy Foundation is receiving donations. They're receiving funding from different sources to operate this business. And they're using the money. She has, AK Legacy has employees. They pay all their employees. They pay all their operation expenses. They have money left in the bank. So since AK Legacy is a nonprofit, they have to use those funds. They can't leave those funds sitting there. So how do they use those funds? They're going to donate something. They're going to do scholarships. They're going to do something to utilize those funds. But they can't leave that money sitting there, because that's considered a profit. And if they do leave it there, and also, let me back up, they also can't give it to the members. So like a regular business, you can distribute your profits among your members. A nonprofit, you can't distribute any extra money among your members. You have to use it for some good. You can even donate it to another nonprofit to utilize for their operation. But when it's time for income tax filing or tax filing every year, January or February of every year, guess what? AK Legacy Foundation isn't paying any taxes on any money that's given. And in addition, anybody who gave them money is also getting a tax break. Whereas if I'm a regular business and somebody gives me money, say Joel wants to invest in MCDS, and he gives me a check for $20,000. Joel can write that off as a charitable contribution because I'm a regular business. So I'm going to pay taxes on the $20,000 that he gave me, and he's going to pay taxes on the $20,000 that he gave me. So it's a lose-lose situation. Whereas with a nonprofit, if I'm over AK Legacy Foundation, Joel gives me a check for $20,000, I can use that money to, give scholarships out, or have experts come in and talk about business organizations and different things. And Joel also gets a credit on his income tax, because he gave to a charitable organization. So it's a win-win when you have that. Now, some people say, well, can I have both? Can I have a regular business and can I have a nonprofit organization? Of course, you can do whatever you want. You can have 50 regular businesses and 50 nonprofit organizations, as long as you make sure your nonprofits are established where it's designated for a certain goal. So that's another passion of mine, is documentation and compliance. We make sure that MCDS makes sure that each one of our clients has a bylaw And a bylaw is, it lays out what you're going to do with your organization. Who's going to be part of your organization? What's your mission? What's your goal? What's your expected outcome of your organization? I would recommend for profit businesses as well to have a charter that lays out the same thing. One thing in our community that we fail as it relates to operating businesses, that we don't have plans. We don't have a business plan. We don't have anything in place that tell us, or that tells somebody else what we're doing and how we're going to do it. I know, Candy, you asked about funding. A lot of people are denied funding because they don't have a plan on how to. I'm gonna ask you and Joel for $100,000 to help my business, and then y'all come back and ask me, well, how you gonna use that money? And I can't tell you. And we have to get better, and that's part of my organization. We help develop those plans. We help develop bylaws and processes for you to operate your business as well as your nonprofit. But the best advantage of having that nonprofit is to ensure that you don't pay taxes. You don't pay, let me caveat, you don't pay corporation taxes. You still,
Right.
if you have payroll, if you have people on payroll, you have to pay payroll tax. And if you don't apply for the proper sales tax forms, and note that every nonprofit isn't guaranteed to be exempt from sales tax, but if you don't apply for those forms, you also have to pay sales tax. So please don't go to Sam's. If you get a nonprofit and you get your letter from the IRS, please don't go to Sam's with that letter and tell them that you ain't paying taxes and then start arguing. I've had that happen with a client. She was arguing in Sam's and they called me on three-way. Why? I don't know. Because they wouldn't exempt her from paying sales tax. So it's completely different. But a nonprofit is always, if you have a heart for people, and the nonprofits is a system that was put in place for people who have the heart to help others. And if you have the heart to help others, do it. I would recommend. Now, it's not the cheapest thing in the world to set up a nonprofit and also maintain the books, but it is something, it's doable. People do it all. They have over 1.5 million nonprofits currently in the United States. So people do it a lot. They're private, they have private nonprofits and they have public nonprofits. So it's up to you to do. A lot of people say you had a rich relative that died and left you money. Set up a nonprofit trust where you can use that funding to fund another nonprofit or give scholarships. If you hear about a lot of grants, they have a lot of private foundation grants. Those are people who just got a lot of money and they don't want the IRS to take it. So what do? They set up a trust and then they fund other organizations. They fund other nonprofits through their trust. So that's another option for individuals who may want to look at ways to avoid the IRS, to avoid taxes.
Right.
It happens all the time. People say, well, one prime example is Amazon and Jeff Bezos. He is the richest man in the United States. But guess what? He didn't pay in taxes this year. And y'all know I use Amazon a lot. Y'all know y'all utilize Amazon a lot.
Too much, a little too much.
Ask yourself, why didn't Jeff Bezos pay taxes? I need to be like Jeff Bezos. So just keep that in mind.
Right. Well, Courtney, you already know that we're having you to come back on, and she's going to do a one-on-one with us on Act Experts. All of our panelists actually will be coming back within the next few months. They're going to do a more of a breakdown section. For example, Courtney will come back and help us restructure some things, and she's also offering classes virtually. So now this platform here is at no cost. So I don't want to give the false notation that someone comes in and they're going to do some actual one-on-one teaching that may have a cost. But I'm sure that you all know that anything that you invest in yourself, you will receive a return on your investment. So we have to change our mindsets, and we have to change our way of thinking and our way of doing business, that I need something to help me do better, so I need it to be free. we have to change that mindset, because the person that's giving it to you, they invested a cost, they put in, whether it could be they went to school for 8 years. I'm not going to school for 8 years for nothing after this. I don't think, I don't see it in my future. I'm not saying I won't, but I just don't see that happening. So I would rather pay someone to teach me, to fast track the information so that I can do what it is that I want to set out to do, versus having to, invest time. Paying someone else for something could mean that I want the service done well. As Joe mentioned earlier, yeah, we got our paper towels and our vinegar and water, and that's not going to cut it in these days. We may need a professional cleaning service to come in and start us over from scratch to clean everything and to make sure that everything is disinfected. So, and Katina's gonna tell us, cutting them corners on those on that credit, it's gonna cost us. She's gonna come back and she's gonna tell us about that zip code. She's gonna tell us how not paying our bills on time, how that's costing us money. So, sometimes you gotta pay, like they say, you gotta pay to be the boss. So we will keep you informed. Follow our website, follow us on YouTube, subscribe, don't just watch, subscribe and watch, subscribe and watch, pray and watch, subscribe and watch us on YouTube, so that you can stay in tune and stay informed on the services that we are offering now. The AK Legacy do have a lot of no cost programs, and we do have some that have very, very minimal cost, just mainly to cover basic necessities. So stay in tune, and we will have more guests coming up over the next few weeks. But our next part, we're gonna do a Q&A. We're gonna do a Q&A with Miss Ashante. So I'm gonna read her bio, and so I told her to send me a picture. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I said, oh, that's my baby. Yeah, that's my baby, y'all. She take after her mama. Anyway, so anyway, Ashante is a fashion and interior designer of Cabana and Cabana Home and Life, a versatile lifestyle brand that offers consulting for set design, fashion, and home decor. Starting her own fashion company at the age of 20, Ashante has been a trendsetter ever since. Ashante attended Louisiana Tech University, as well as Southern University of Baton Rouge in Louisiana, majoring in fashion merchandising, and begun her career as a fashion buyer consultant for companies in Dallas, Texas, and Los Angeles, California. This career has afforded her the opportunity to attend trade shows in Atlanta, Georgia, New York, Jackson, Mississippi, and Las Vegas, Nevada, just to name a few. However, Miss Sibley's best role ever is that she is now the proud mommy of Jonah Love Harris, who is a precious 2-month-old and still in all heart. Oh, okay, let me regroup. Just thinking about this, I'm excited. I'm excited to introduce this young lady who's going to do the Q&A with us. And I know that those of us that are on here, even if it's not a natural child, it could be an adopted child, it could be that child that leaves you alone, that's always coming to your house, doesn't necessarily have to be your actual birth child. But when you see one of your children accomplishing goals, it just gives you a newfound perspective on life, that, hey, what I do matters. And I tell a lot of people a lot of time, if you want to know if the preacher's telling the truth, if you want to know if the business is legit, go ask their children. So the mere fact that she's on here must mean I'm okay. At one point, how we take those teenager years and you're like, but praise God, she is here, and we're gonna do some Q&A with her, and let me get the questions that were sent in for her. Okay, so y'all know I did a whole sidebar when I start talking about my children, so y'all bear with me. All right, so Ashante, question number 1 for you is, how long do you think we will wear the mask, and how will fashion be included in the mask?
So I think we'll become more like Asia, where they wear masks on a daily basis, and for them it's to it's more so to protect themselves from like pollution, but they also just wear it socially. Like if they don't feel like wearing makeup that day or just don't feel like talking, then they will wear their masks on their day. So I just think, but they also don't really care about the fashion aspect of it as much as I think my generation and just Americans do. but I do think that we will continue to wear masks longer than what we think, like for the rest of this year, maybe next year, because designers are already starting to incorporate like masks and gloves into their pattern designs, and just trying to make it more of an aesthetic for us Americans. And then now with all the protests and things going on, it's becoming a fashion statement and then another outlet for our voices to be heard. Just like you was asking me about the t-shirt, a lot of us won't go out and protest or won't just get into a frenzy with people on social media, but we might wear a mask that says Black Lives Matter, or we might wear gloves or a shirt that is in our version of our protest. So I just think that the more that designers create like the this is cool aesthetic and just incorporate it into what we're already buying and wearing and make it on trend, and just as long as COVID is an issue, it'll be around from far longer than what we think.
Yeah. Does Jonah have any information that you want to share?
Sleeping at the moment.
Okay, I was just checking if you want, you know, include her as well. So my next question for you is, has the COVID-19 affected the way that we dress? You know, will it affect the way that we dress?
Yes. Whenever this first started in March, we were all excited to just lounge around in our sweats and big t-shirts, no bras, like just being comfortable around the house. And then like a month in, we were all like, okay, I'm ready to actually put some clothes on, go to dinner with my friends, get cute, put some makeup on. So half of us was enjoying the comfortable lifestyle, and then half of us was going to Walmart in a full outfit, heels, makeup on, just because like the way we dress is a big part of who we are, and it's a part of like our daily routine. So where was I going with that? So yeah, I do think it'll affect like how we dress, and I think companies and manufacturers will start to design more athletic wear, because a lot of people are taking into account self-care and just staying fit. There's a lot of companies that I already see now that are trying to incorporate like trends for athletic wear. Because a lot of people have way more time, and the excuse of like, I don't have time to work out isn't really valid anymore. So that's becoming a big thing. Sweatpants are becoming more fashionable and not just muted, baggy designs. They're actually trying to combine like loungewear with something that you can wear outside, so it's more versatile too. And then I know for my company, I'm trying to design like lounge clothing that can be worn around the house, or you can jazz it up and wear it outside. So, and a lot of designers are taking that mindset with them when they're coming out with their fall 20 line, because like I said, the incorporating masks and gloves is going to be here for the rest of the year anyway. So why not just try to combine all three of those things and make one complete outfit, so that, and it is all about cost too. So if I know that if I design one sweatpant and a top to go with it, and I include the mask and the gloves, you're probably gonna buy all four. You might not wear it all together, but you're gonna buy all four because it looks good together. It's an aesthetic, and so it works for both parties, the designer and the consumer, because we are in a recession and people are not just buying frivolously like they used to. So the designers are trying to come up with a way where they can still make a profit off of, you know, coming out with new designs.
So So, and I know I see we have a fitness trainer, Miss Felicia Flake on here. I know she can appreciate, I'm not gonna call on you, Felicia. She can appreciate, if y'all can, I don't know if y'all can see her facial expression, but like, oh my gosh, she's so funny. But I know she can appreciate the more, athletics being more, being more fashionable now. It is her favorite thing to buy, I know. So, I'm not gonna put her on the spot, but when you mentioned, so fashion plays a part in if we're gonna work out, because if I gotta change clothes, I'm just not gonna go through all that. So now I can work out, and I can look good while I do it. I think that will that will get more people to buy in the more comfy wear. And it's true what you said. When I went in Walmart, I think back in April, I was too tickled. I wanted to take my camera out and take pictures because I see people in their full dress. I'm talking about stilettos. And they were runway ready. And I know they got to go home and quarantine, so I didn't know why they were dressed up and head to toe like that buying milk and bread. But hey, to each his own. So yeah, thank you. So stick around. I do have another question for you, but we're gonna move over to the next part, and I'm gonna come back to you in just a few minutes.
Okay.
So I'm gonna take a second, guys, just to kind of tell you about two upcoming events. Well, one upcoming event and one ongoing event. As you can see, the flyers that are currently on the screen now. We have our Youth Business Summit that is coming up. So if you have a young entrepreneur or someone who would like to be in business, ages from 7 to 17, have them to go to our website and register. We will be launching the Youth Business Summit pretty soon. And in that, we're going to take an all-day approach, and we're going to teach them about the business. We're going to teach them why they should start a business, how to set it up properly with their taxes. We're going to talk to them about marketing and branding. We're going to do this whole thing because you got to think about it. If some of us would have had this opportunity when we were younger, where would we be now? Oh my gosh, sometimes I don't even want to think about it because I'll just get mad. So instead of getting mad and looking back, let's start paying it forward. Let's reach out to some of our younger generations and say, hey, look, don't make the mistakes that I made in business. Don't make the mistakes I made in my nonprofit. Let me show you how. Let me show you what you can do now, and start making those things, and not just teaching them about the profit part, but the education part. We will also teach them about the importance of giving to charitable donations, and how reaching out to the other peers, how important it is to be involved in your community and not just about making money. So guys, sign them up for that. We will have more information coming later. And I'm asking all our panelists and any guests that are out there, we're accepting donations for that, of course, because we want to give scholarships for the children to be able to attend, because we're going to actually give them the things that they need to start the business with. So we are soliciting donations. The Bible says you have not because you ask not. So I am asking. So, all right. And then go on our website on the AK Legacy Foundation and scroll down to shopping. We have a shopping for a cause, support the cause. Every item that you purchase on our Poshmark, every item that you purchase, it goes back into the foundation, 100% of it. So make sure that you go and purchase, shop. I mean, you know, hey, you go on Amazon, let's kick it out over here on Poshmark. Click on the link and buy something that will be sown back into the lives of our youth. All right. So I appreciate it. And if anybody has any questions about that, just reach out to me. And just before I bring up our next guest, our panelist, Miss Katina, I'm going to give her a minute to get situated, and we're going to bring her on, and she's going to take up the latter part of the time that we have left. But don't anybody go anywhere. We're going to come back with our last closeout question, and then we'll be done for the day. And I really appreciate you guys staying on, and I appreciate anyone that's sharing the information. Like I said earlier, we are streaming live on YouTube. So if you have someone that were not able to get on Facebook or on Zoom, they can watch it on YouTube as well. So Miss Katina, I am going to read her bio, and I just like this lady. She's on a call that we have. We're in the same company together on our credit restoration company. And she is just so full of energy, you know, and you can tell and you can sense that she has a heart for people. So let's get started. Miss Katina is a native of Cleveland, Ohio, who has worked in the medical, sales, and airline industries, which facilitated to her traveling around the world. She has over 21 years of experience in collection industry related to things such as third-party debt collection, collection garnishment, judgment, and summons in court, and much, much more. With that in mind, the training she has received from these corporations have prepared her for her position she now holds at Financial Education Services, which is Executive Director and National Recruiter. Mrs. Baisley, after being scammed many times trying to restore her own personal credit, she decided to start offering free credit classes, workshops with others and for others with similar challenges. When Katina taught her first seminar, her own personal credit score was 432. That was rock bottom. Within a short period, with her system, she was able to improve her credit score to an 800 plus. And she did all that without filing bankruptcy. Katina is on a mission to help many others accomplish the same result. So let's hear from Miss Katina.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me okay? I moved around.
Yes, I hear you just fine. You're loud and clear. So
Okay.
I know we have a ton of questions for you. And of course, I know you're going to come back on and give us some pointers on our personal credit. So I want you to pick back up where you were talking about our zip code does matter with our credit. And then you can just kind of flow right into, so I don't have to interrupt you. You can kind of come back and tell us a little bit about the importance of paying our bills on time and how we can build credit even if we have a bankruptcy.
Okay. So, and I didn't take notes, so I'm kind of driving. I'm moving around. So if I get off track, let me know.
That's fine. I'll reel you back in. You know, we sisters, we can do that.
Yes, ma'am. So what I was saying about the zip code is because I know that when I had to had to downsize, I noticed that it was certain things I didn't qualify for when I was in a different area. And then when I moved to a suburb, I qualify for more things. And it basically goes off of your zip code. That is something that I found out in having bad credit. For instance, one thing when I lived in, and I'm from Cleveland, so East Cleveland now, I grew up in East Cleveland, but nowadays it's considered like the hood. So I moved back to, because I had a property there that I did not lose. It was better than being homeless, but we lost everything pretty much except for that one house. And when I lived there, my electric bill was probably about $160 a month. And I was on something called HEAP. So I paid $50 a month. But when I moved to the suburb, once my income enhanced and, I got my credit together and all of that, and we moved into between the $300,000 to $350,000 home, my electric bill was only $72 a month. And I'm just like wondering, well, why is that? And when I did the research, which was writing letters, calling in to find out what the difference was, I found out it was my zip code. So they charge you more based on your zip code, no matter what your score is. So it's a lot of little components to credit that people don't know. We don't have to get in, people don't have to get too worried about it, because if you get your credit score up, no matter where you're at, and you know how to play the game, quote unquote, as we call it, play the credit game, you can win it wherever you live. As far as myself, I didn't file bankruptcy because I used to be assistant. I cut my bio short. So I used to be assistant to a debt buyer. Are you able to still hear me, Candy?
Yes, you're fine.
Okay. So I used to be assistant to a debt buyer. So there are laws that when your debt charge is off, and don't get me wrong, I'm not advocating for people to go out and get credit cards and not, but I didn't have the money. And so it made me go deeper into my research, and I found out, and I used to be a debt buyer, but I was on the other side of the coin. So I found out when debt charges off, consumers don't owe that money legally, because the original creditor, they get a tax write-off, they get, the collection company buys the debt for pennies on the dollar, and they get an insurance write-off. So that's why I never had a desire to file bankruptcy, because I was educated. I understood you can, that debt is written off, and all you have to do is find the right credit restoration company, which ours I found, they found me, we found each other in 2007. And so when I got scammed by those other companies, one of them was Lexington Law Firm, they took my money and things kept coming back on my credit, but it's just that that's what they do. There's nothing against them. That's just their marketing. They're not there to educate people on how to have excellent credit, on how to manage their money. So I never filed bankruptcy. I went from a 432 to a 789. I fixed my credit with our company 3 times. Life happened to me the first time, job loss, second time divorce, and third time, the last time was in 2018. I had made surgery and I had to live off my credit cards while my daughter was graduating, so forth and so on. I was a single mom. And I'm today I sit at 849. But now the last 2 times, did I have to not pay bills back? No, not necessarily. But again, when debt charges off, consumers don't know they don't owe the money.
Right. So I definitely, now you've opened up a whole lot of questions. So I'm going to make sure that everybody has Katina's information. And like I said, we're in the same company. If you have a question, we can bounce off, because Katina is a pro at this. And one thing I tell people, I'm an expert in my field in taxes, and I know everything about it. It's probably nothing you can ask me that I won't know, and I know exactly where to find it. And when it comes to credit, I feel like I know it like the back of my hand. But Katina has that next level, you know what I mean? So don't worry, don't fear. I'm gonna keep Katina in my pocket. I'm like, girl, can't go anywhere. So I want to make sure that we bring her back on so that she can give us some more in-depth things. I want to make sure that one of the questions, paying your bills on time. That'll be the last question for you. We know the credit pie. Anyone that's dealt with me before, I always talking about the credit pie. So paying your bills on time for a person who's starting up, or who don't have credit, they're just brand new. And so how paying your bills on time, who can that help and how?
So the reason why you want to pay your bills on time is because your credit report is your report card. So when you get ready to go into, let's say, a dealership to buy a car, they don't know you. All they know is your name. You show your license. So when they pull your credit report, it's a report card. Just like when you're in school. And if you got straight A's, you got a 4.0. If you got F's, you may have a 1.0 or 0. It tells who you are. So paying your bills on time allows the underwriter to say, okay, when you apply for something, do we want to, first of all, if you want to increase a credit limit and you put in for an increase, they pull your credit because they want to see how have you been managing your other credit cards, or do you have any credit that you're managing besides this one credit card? Do you just have this one for 2 years with a $300 limit, but you always pay the minimum payment or a little bit more than the minimum payment? They're not looking to extend credit to people like that. Now, let me say this though. When you're trying to increase your score, okay, the old rule is pay everything off 0, and that's going to help your credit score go up. That's not how it works any longer. You have to leverage the credit scoring formula by FICO, okay? And what happens is the way you pay your bills, okay, not the minimum payment. You don't want to just pay the minimum payment. It's a certain way you want to pay your bills. That's why I went from a 432 to almost 800 in less than 5 months. And I've done it 3 times. And the reason that is because it is not a trick. It's not something that I'm just trying to trick the system. Well, it kind of is, but it's not. You just have to know how to pay it. I don't want to go into that because I know it's a little bit more lengthy. Right. But you pay your bill.
I'm telling everybody to join us Tuesday night at 8 o'clock.
Yeah.
So we're gonna meet up Tuesday night on a call with some more of our business associates, and we're gonna give some more breakdown to how.
And Candy, we do a Thursday call too. There's a Thursday call that we also. This is one tomorrow. I can send you that information that we do on Zoom as well.
Okay. So what I'm gonna do, everyone that's registered for the event, they always get an email by tomorrow, and it's gonna have every panelist contact information and upcoming event. So I will make sure that I get the information from Katina, and then for the Tuesday night call, I'll also include that in there as well. So if you can't do tomorrow, you can do Tuesday. And so she's going to give more of a breakdown because I know you guys have a lot of questions. So what I want to do with the last minute or two that we have left on here, we're going to give every panelist an opportunity to tell us how they can, we can reach them and what services that they're currently offering to us. So Ashante, are you able to go first? Okay, we're gonna let Ashante go first. And she got her hands full, so we're gonna let her go first. So tell us how we can reach you and what services can you currently offer to us to help us either in our personal or business.
You can follow me on Instagram at CHERBEARRY. You can email me at AHSCHERBANA@gmail, and I can put that in the chat. I can help with personal styling, closet clean out, getting masks. Just email me and we can go from there.
And her services are also offered virtually. So those of you that are out of the state of Louisiana, or out of Florida, she can also, I said we, but she can help you virtually as well. And she will put her information in the chat. Katina, you have a flood of questions. So I want you to go ahead and tell the people how we can reach out to you and what services you can offer us.
Okay, and I apologize, I'm not able to go in the chat because I'm in the car. I'm getting ready to try. You can reach me, Katina Fix My Credit at gmail.com. That is my email address. I prefer my text message. If you have a call, because I like to get on the phone. People are more fashioned. I'm gonna give you my phone number, Candy.
Yes, I'll make sure. Yeah, if you want to, but you don't need. Okay. I'll make sure that they get you.
It's also at my website. It's also at my website, but I was gonna. Which would you prefer?
Yeah, you're breaking up again, Katina, but don't worry. I'm gonna make sure.
You want me to get my phone number or okay. I didn't know if you want me to get my website or phone number.
Yeah, you're breaking up. I'm gonna make sure that everybody get all of your information, and we'll take it from there. So Courtney, you know we need you. You kind of broke our heart when you told us we couldn't go to Sam's and get everything with no taxes, but we're gonna redeem you by letting you tell us how you can assist us, whether it's personally or in our business.
Well, I can help you go to Sam's and get yourself tax exemption, but I can help with documentation services, and that's nonprofit incorporation, bylaws, charters, meeting assistance. I know a lot of people who start corporations and nonprofits. They need to have meetings and they don't know how to start off with the first meeting with their board of directors or their executive team. I can help facilitate that as well. Registered agent services. I can serve as your compliance mandate for your corporation. I can be reached through email, and I'm gonna put it in the chat as well. It's Courtney@mcdsllc.net. I can always be reached via telephone, via text, and I will put that in the chat as well. It's 504-355-1133. I'm on social media. I have a website. I'll put all of that in the chat, but I am accessible. And one thing I pride myself is that I will work with you to the end. You can ask any of my clients. They call and text and email, have any question that they need. If I can answer it or get you the resources to answer the question, that's my goal, to ensure that your questions are answered and that your business is operating in compliance. What we don't want is people coming, IRS, the state coming back, or anybody coming back at you saying you didn't do X, Y, or Z. I pride myself in ensuring that my people are legit, registered, and compliant. Right. So I'll put all my information in the chat.
Right, and Courtney is precisely right. I am a tax preparer and I deal with all things taxes except nonprofit. I don't do nonprofit. So Courtney has been a great resource to my company, and I immediately when they start talking nonprofit. I said, oh, wait, stop. Let me get Courtney's information for you, because that is her expertise. And I tell people all the time, that is one area you don't want to be straddled the fence. You want to make sure that if you're establishing a nonprofit, that everything about it is straight. Your documentation, the documentation services that she offers are bar none. And so you want to make sure that everything is correct. Your I's are dotted and your T's are crossed. It is so important. I see that we even have an attorney in our viewing audience, and he can attest to that. You want to make sure that when you're dealing with legal matters, that everything is legally correct, because you don't ever want to have yourself exposed to have anyone to come back and give you a fine, to give you a penalty, to give you possible jail time. So I think it behooves you to reach out to the certain person in your area. So if you're needing to lose weight, you will want to talk to a consultant, a fitness consultant. If you're needing to clean up your industry or you clean up your building, you would want to talk to an environmental specialist. So it's the same way. It's nothing no different. You would want to talk to a caterer if you have a big event and you need certain food. Don't come to me. I can make my little pan of jambalaya and that's it. Don't come to me with trying to do all these things. So find a person that can give you the best service, not necessarily the cheapest price, because a lot of times you'll find that you can get the best service without breaking the bank, even if it saves you in the long run. Because if you go for cheap and have to redo it, you should have just gotten the expert from the jump that gave you the best possible resolve. And I say that not to fuss, but just to kind of bring our culture, our generation, our people up to a higher standard of thinking, because a lot of time we need things or we have access to things and we won't take advantage of it because we're looking at the right now situation. We have to start thinking further down the road with everything that's going on. Right before Joel tells us about his services and products, Joel, I want you to also, well, no, I'm going to save that for when you come back for your one-on-one. So, but Joel's going to come on, he's going to tell us what services he is currently providing that can assist us. And he's going to also tell us how to contact him as well. And then I'll close out with my products and services. I don't want to jump ahead of my panel guests.
Okay, great. Yeah, I put my email in the chat. It's jbholton.associates@gmail.com. You can also go to the website at jbholton.com. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well if y'all want to follow on social media. These right now, we're focused mainly on our environmental services, which can be water mitigation, restoration, lead-based paint abatement, mold remediation, cleaning and disinfection services, and infection control protocols. We're also doing site-specific training. So if you have a building or facility that needs to be cleaned, but you also need a staff to be trained on proper infection control protocols, we can do that as well. And I want everybody on here to know that we're offering a 20% discount to any nonprofit, faith-based organization, community organizations, and Black and women-owned businesses as well. Because what I see in this pandemic is that we are definitely not getting the care that we need and the instruction that we need in our community to properly approach this. So I want to know, when people go back to church, people go back to school, people go back to these different environments in the community, that they're safe and they have knowledge of how to keep them safe moving forward. So it's important to me to know, when my mom goes back to church, I want to know that she's in a church that's safe and healthy, and the people who are in control of providing that safe and secure environment are trained and knowledgeable on what they need to be doing. So this is just something we're doing. It's like Candy says, it's important that us as Black folks and in our community, we understand that we got to do better with each other before we can worry about what's going on with everybody else. Like this, these all Black communities and economic systems existed before us, and they can exist again if we choose to change our mindset on how we approach things.
Right. Thank you, Joel. So I want to just kind of remind everybody about our upcoming summit. And to support the cause, just go on our website and scroll down to shopping and click on there. And Joe, you can shop too. No, there's no men clothing, but hey, you got a niece and she's always got her hand out to uncle. So
I got 3 of them, and
Lord.
it's amazing right now, the cost.
So you can scroll down and shop too as well. So men, you are not exempted. All right. So I'm gonna close out with my information. You can call me at 985-445-9582. You can visit our website, martinbusinesssolution.com. That is on the profit side. That is not the nonprofit side. As Courtney has cleared that up. So the AK Legacy Foundation is our nonprofit for our nonprofit services. And then Martin Business Solution is the platform as where I do my teaching classes. We teach on subjects of financial literacy. We have a workshop coming up next Thursday on how to properly structure your business. The class is only $29. So you can actually go on the website and register for that. What we have designed that class to do is to teach you how to set it up properly. So let's say you've already set your business up. Well, you would still want to register and tune in because you may find you want to restructure something. So we're going to go through picking the right entity, even coming up with the name, all those things that play a part. Are you registered with the state? What type of insurance do you need? What type of taxes you should be paying? So we're going to go through that whole spiel. This class, I normally charge $499 or $500. I normally charge like $500 for the class. The class next Thursday is $29. I said next Thursday, the class is $29. Not in 2 weeks, but next Thursday. So go on the website and you get information about that. I really appreciate everyone taking the time out of the middle of your day to tune in with us. We are every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. Tentatively, we should be done by 12:15. So apologize for going over a little bit, but hey, if you're still here with us, that means we were, we're thankful for that, and we're thankful that we were able to share some type of information with you. Now, the next 2 weeks, we are gonna take a break because I have probably over 50 experts that I'm gonna have to go through to figure out. I'm gonna have to put everybody on a schedule. So I am so thankful, and I give God all the honor, I give God all the praise that we have right now about 50 experts that have committed to coming on to doing Meet the Experts with us. And what I want to do is to make sure that I leave some time for every expert that has already been on here to come back and maybe take a 30-minute section with just that one expert so that they can expound more on the industry. So if you're on here, and I know you're an expert like Felicia Flake, don't get away. I'm gonna have her on here too as well. She don't know it, I'm calling her out. So yes, I'll have her back. She is going to give us some tips on fitness, finding our soul fit. So I'm giving her a shout out. So one people say, why am I giving her a shout out? Well, she's a contributor to the AK Legacy Foundation. She's a member of the Women in Business group. So I like supporting my own and taking care of my own. And so if you take care of the things that matter to God, God will take care of the things that matter to you. So that is my philosophy. And so shout out to Felicia Guimont. She is our official chef for the AK Legacy Foundation. So prayerfully, Joel, if we can get this COVID under control, we can have our banquet with all her good food. So I need you to go clean everything so we can get back into business, so we can have our banquet dinner.
No problem.
We'll even give you a free plate. How about that?
Hey, like I said, you ain't got to tell me twice.
So yeah, I thank all of our supporters of the AK Legacy Foundation. I thank the Pool Corp media. They have been sponsors as well. The Pulliam family, I appreciate them, and everyone. I don't want to get into naming names because when you name names, you forget somebody. So I do want to thank everyone for taking the time to come out in the middle of your day. Watch the replay. It will be on the website by the end of the day. Go on YouTube. You can go on YouTube now, subscribe and watch, share, bring awareness to the cause. And I'm going to come back in 2 weeks. We're going to start in July 1st. We will be airing every Wednesday. So if I say every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. And so starting July 1st, every Wednesday at 11 o'clock. And so the next 2 Wednesdays, we will not be on, but don't be alarmed. I'll probably air one of the replays on YouTube or something, but we will be taking the time to put together the list. We had an overwhelming support of experts that were willing to come and share information. So if you're an expert and you would like to share, send me an email. My information is on the screen. It's info@martinbusinesssolution.com. You can send me an email if you would like to participate either on the panel or if you want to participate on the one-on-one interview. Send me an email and let's go from there. And I am welcome to hear everyone. We may not always agree on everything, but the information does need to be shared. And so in this time, I pray that everyone is safe. I pray that your business is blessed. I pray that you are blessed personally in your family life. And just remember to get all the facts and to ask the other side, hear both sides of the story. Even if we don't agree, let's agree to disagree peaceably. And so with that being said, this concludes our session for today. And I look forward to seeing everyone back when? July 1st, 11 o'clock. You guys have a great day. Bye-bye.